or at least go play well.
Mm-hmm.
And had they won 3 in a row going into last night, or even won 2 out of the last 3, and you lose the game the way they lost last night, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like this feels like such a bigger thing because they've now lost 4 games in a row and they're 2 games under 500, and this is just another notch in this slide that the Kings are on. But if you said, yeah, hey, you know what? They're going to play them really tough through 2.5 quarters. And then the fact that Oklahoma City had 4 days off and the Kings were on the back end of a back-to-back, it started to look like that toward the end of the game, and Oklahoma City's really good, and they just kind of pulled away. Yeah, that's probably how that game's going to go.
Yeah, the game went exactly how I thought it would go.
Yeah,
the Kings aren't playing well. The team that they're playing is one of the better teams in the league. I expected them to give a good fight, and in the end, for OKC to pull away at some point and beat them, because they're playing a much better brand of basketball right now, and they're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And we saw it last night. Oklahoma City's really good, and you see why.
Mm-hmm.
But I shout out to, where's my guy? Shout out to Sean in the chatty house. He said, just logged on. Did the Kings fire anyone yet? No, not yet, first of all.
Nope.
Second of all, that's why the tenor of today for me is so much different than the last couple of days or the last couple of losses. Last few losses, really. In LA against the Clippers, they face planted. Just not a good showing. Bad loss. Against Brooklyn, and you know what? You got punched in the mouth by a lesser team that played well. That's a game you need to win. That's another bad loss. But this one, Oklahoma City's just good, dude. And you're on the second night of a back-to-back, and you played pretty well for the most part through the first, like I said, 30 minutes?
Yeah, it was about 30.
30 minutes?
That's where I had it.
And then the wheels kind of came off, which is, I kind of expected that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just happy they were, and again, this is not moral victory season. This is just trying to project out what this looks like going forward. I'm really happy they were competitive for as long as they were, because that shows me okay, it's in there. It's there. We see that competitive spirit. We see them playing better just on both ends of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was good to see. Would you have liked to win? Absolutely. Is losing 4 games in a row acceptable? Definitely not. Do you need to go win in Minnesota and then beat Portland and get back to 500 and start stacking wins? 100%. Are there still a bunch of cracks in the foundation and issues with the roster? Yes, man, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't look at last night's game as an extension of the problems they were having, if that makes sense.
No, I totally agree. And you're also playing a team that just had 4 days off in a row, which is why we thought the Kings would come out and play differently against the Clippers on Friday when they had 3 days off to rest up. I also watching this game. You just couldn't shake them. It didn't matter how well the Kings played, they couldn't shake them. And part of that comes back to the 3-point line thing. Every time you think you're going to score, they score one more than you do.
Yeah.
And so even if you score on 3 straight possessions and they only score on 2, the fact is that they hit a 3 on their 2 possessions and scored just as many as you did on your 3. So your margin for error is gone.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like. It feels like that they were competing. It was a very good game. And then out of nowhere, the Kings let the officials, who were...
It was bad.
They were god-awful. They were horrible. And Kyle, there's something about the officials, that something specifically the officials did last night that just gets under my skin. So, look, they didn't call a good game. They called touch fouls on one side, and they called crazy stuff on the other.
Yep.
I've never even, I got to be honest, I didn't know you could go back and review a play for a potential flagrant and then give somebody a personal foul. Because if that's...
I don't think you can.
If that's the case, I want to know why they didn't go back when Bam Adebayo punched Domantas Sabonis in the face and he's bleeding everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to know why they didn't go back and, number one, look at it for a flagrant. But number two, at least assess a foul.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I don't think Mark Jones said on the broadcast that you can't do that.
You can't do that. And so I'm sitting here like, what exactly
So
are we
bizarre,
doing?
dude.
And the fact that like Sabonis fouled him clearly, and he was bleeding everywhere.
Yeah.
But
if you miss a call, you missed a call.
You missed a call. It is what it is. Like, you can't just change the rules all of a sudden.
Right.
So I text you at one point. I said the officials have been very, very odd. It was 17-7 disparity between the calls that Oklahoma had been called and the calls that the Kings have been called.
That's fouls, not
fouls, just personals, not free throws.
Right.
Just fouls.
Right.
17-7. This is what I hate. What I hate is when there's that disparity and then the officials look up and see that disparity, and then they decide when the game is over to go call a bunch of stupid fouls that mean absolutely nothing so they can balance their ledger.
Yeah.
To me, that is the worst because it's icky.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, hey, look, we did a really bad job when this was a good game, and we may have blown this game apart inadvertently, and we screwed up and we were bad. And like, it's on the Kings. The Kings let the officiating get in their head and stop competing, right? They shifted all of their angst not towards the opposition, but towards the officials. But then to have the officials go back and basically even the ledger at the end of the game, it ends up being like 22-18. Like, come on now.
I don't want to know that the officials are conscious of how many fouls they've called on each team.
Yeah.
Like, just call them. Call the game.
Yep.
And this is not. I think there were more reasons than the officials that the Kings lost last night. To be totally clear, and I don't think this is an exclusive Kings issue.
No,
because I A, watch other games, and B, read what other people write about games.
Yes,
and I promise we're not the only radio show in America right now complaining about NBA officiating. It's just a nightly thing. And last night was a prime example. Like, you make a great point. You can't, if the other team has committed 17 fouls and the other team has committed 7, then so be it. Like, you can't go, oh, hey, oops.
Ooh, that doesn't look great.
We haven't called this correctly. All right, well, let's just start calling it. You can't do that, man. It's just not. Officiate the game. Stop worrying about who's wearing the jersey. Stop worrying about what jersey it is. I don't care if you're worried about the point spread. I don't care if you're worried about how many fouls are being called each way, what the free throw disparity is. I know that there's human nature involved, and I know that what I'm asking for is nigh impossible. But it's like, that's the goal. Like, that's what I hope for. And when it's very clear that's not the case, when it's very clear whether it's because they're going, okay, well, Oklahoma City's the better team, they're going to draw fouls, so we're going to call fouls for them tonight, or whatever it is, I would just like that to not be so freaking apparent. And last night, dude, the one that really grinds my gears, or grinded my gears.
Grinds.
The one that
grinds my gears. Yeah.
Yeah, the one call last night that grinds my gears was the one where Isaiah Hartenstein slams into Domantas Sabonis, and then Domas gets whistled for a foul.
Yeah.
And then, like, Mike doesn't review it because they're going to need a timeout. But I don't.
What about the steal that De'Aaron Fox has?
Yeah.
And he's set for takeoff for a breakaway, and they stop the game.
Yeah. Or the one where Shea pump fakes and I think was it Monk in the air? Might have been Keon, but like leaned in a little bit and then shot his 3, airballed it. Kings secure the rebound, whistle.
What
like,
about,
man, what? On that one, real quick, hang on.
Yeah.
I want to get to yours. But on that one, you can't do that anymore. You can't pump fake, lean to draw the contact. That's not a foul anymore. If anything, that should be offensive. You're generating the contact.
Yes.
So that should not be whistled regardless. But it's like the ref saw how atrocious the shot was and went, oh, foul. What?
What about the one where you had 2 defenders go straight up on a Shea drive? Straight up.
Yes.
3 arms straight up, and the other hand was down. 3 arms straight up, all body straight up. And then he can't get a shot off, and like on the way down, throws up some garbage whistle. So look, I am not blaming the officials for the Kings losing the game last night. What I will blame,
this is a frustration separate from last night.
Yes, what I will blame is the Kings' handling of the officiating, because look, there are all kinds of obstacles in life that we all face, and what you can't do is go, oh man, I got a flat tire. I guess I'm not going to show up to work and lose my job and not be able to pay my mortgage. So now I'm going to get evicted, and my wife's going to leave me because we got evicted from my apartment, all because of a flat tire.
No.
Like, it's just one of the things that happens in a game. But what I saw was a team that let something get under their skin, and then boom, it was gone. They were out of the moment.
The Kings led by 1 point with 4:36 to go in the third quarter. So more than 30 minutes.
32
minutes.
Oh.
And they trailed by 1 at that point. Hartenstein gets a dunk to make it a 3-point game. Domas offensive foul. That might have been the one where Hartenstein ran into him.
Mm-hmm.
Domas offensive foul. Herter fouls J-Dub, Jalen Williams. He makes both his free throws. 5-point game. Domas offensive foul. Jalen Williams makes a midi. 7-point game. Sabonis goes to the free throw line, hits both. Okay, it's back to 5. Kings get a turnover. Come down, miss 3-point shot. Kaysen Wallace makes a dunk. It's a 7-point game. Missed 3-pointer by Keegan Murray. Kings next possession, still a 7-point game. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. De'Aaron misses a 3. Shea hits a shot to make it a 9-point game. Herter comes down, misses a 3. Shea hits a 3 to make it a 12-point game. Like, that's where to bring this back to the game and away from the officials. Like, that's where the game swings. And it comes back to something that's plagued the Kings all year. Like, dog, you got to hit a 3.
Oh yeah.
You've just got to hit a shot. And I know we'd made jokes about, like, oh yeah, hey, just make the shots. But, like, I hate the phrase make or miss league, but sometimes that's kind of what it is. And that stretch was the game. It wasn't trading buckets. It was trading a miss for an easy 2.
Yep. And
then a miss for an easy 2. And then another miss for another easy 2. And all of a sudden, this game that's, okay, striking distance. We're a bucket and a stop and a bucket away from leading this game, to, all right, we're down 12 and our legs are going. And that's where the game was decided.
Well, yeah, Kyle, I mean, the Thunder shot 7 of 16 from 3 in the second half.
Man.
The Kings shot 1 of 13. They beat you by, 21-3, by 18 points in the second half from behind the arc. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Game over.
That's it.
I mean, there's no other explanation needed. They hit their threes. You did not hit your threes, and they beat you. And we can look at the assist numbers. They had 14 assists. The Kings had 7. They had 14 assists because they hit threes, and the Kings didn't.
Yep.
The Kings looked great in the first half. They had 34. They had 17 first half assists on pace for 34.
Yep.
They finished with 24.
Come on.
I mean, that's it. So if you can't hit your shots, it's pretty basic. And I would love to tell you that, again, that they're not getting open looks and these are forced threes. They weren't. They were wide open. Most of them were wide open threes, like uncontested, and you just missed. And that's tough. But I would like to tell you that, like, this is all about coaching, or it's all about one individual, or there's one thing that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
No, like, guys have to hit shots. Like, that's it.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
You lose by 21 last night and got outscored by 18 at the 3-point line.
Yeah. And what did we talk about last season? Last season, they lost 5 games because they couldn't hit free throws. Free throws in clutch situations.
Check this out. You lose by, speaking of free throws, you lost by 18 at the 3-point line and by 3 at the free throw line.
Oh, yeah. That's a game, right?
Yep. Shot 2 fewer free throws and made 3 fewer.
And 21-point loss. And Sunday, when they lost to the Nets, what they miss? 11 free throws in a
There's a lot
in a 5-point game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Lou,
it. Go ahead.
Lou Dort went scoreless last night, and they scored 130.
Yeah, he went scoreless, but he held De'Aaron Fox to 14 points.
Awesome.
He was pretty awesome.
He was really good. We'll talk about the Kings. There's a ton to get into with the Kings from last night. But Oklahoma City was as advertised. They were so good. And down the stretch, they just had answers for everything.
Yeah.
The Kings threw the kitchen sink at Shea. And they have counters and answers for everything. And they've got guys like Kenrich Williams who are going to knock down a three. And AJ Mitchell, who's a player apparently. Never heard of him.
I'd never heard of him.
6 of 8 last night.
Yeah.
15 points in 17 minutes, 18 minutes off the bench. Like, he's got answers, man. Isaiah Joe can light it up with the best of them. He goes 3 of 8 from 3. Shea's an MVP candidate, showed why. Jalen Williams would be the best player on a lot of teams in the NBA.
Yeah, he's intriguing, isn't he?
Yeah, man. Yeah. And just, I mean, down the stretch, it's like, all right, the Kings are going to double Shea and get the ball out of his hands. Here's Jalen Williams, 3-ball, buckets.
What are you going to do? It's a good team, and they're missing
really
Chet.
Good. They're missing Chet.
Alex Caruso.
Yep. And J. Will.
Oh, yeah.
Jalen Williams, another front court guy.
The other Jalen Williams. Yep.
Like, they're just, they are as loaded and as good as we expected them to be going into the year.
Yeah.
And that can't be overlooked. I know that Kings fans are frustrated right now, and there are so many reasons to be frustrated. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. That's the Elk Grove Kia talk line. Fire away. Like, I am not going to let it. I'm not going to tell anybody how to feel or what to feel. If you're just pissed and last night was unacceptable, and okay, like that's let it fly. We're here. But for me, the takeaway last night was like, oh my God, the Kings are so bad. The takeaway for me was like, holy crap, Oklahoma City might win the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the odds-on favorite to get out of the West.
Yeah.
And they're dealing with injuries.
Yeah. They're not even fully healthy, and they're just cooking.
Oh yeah.
It's rolling.
I mean, they're missing a all NBA defender. Oh, no, 2 all NBA defenders.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah.
With Caruso and
Chet. I mean, Chet is who was in my mind, and then I'm like, oh, I forgot. Yeah. Caruso's also an all NBA defender.
Yeah. Second team last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they're awesome. And that was the bigger takeaway for me. Like it's the loss gets exacerbated because of what the previous 3 games had looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically like Sunday's game.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Friday's game.
Friday's
game.
Friday's the one that stands out. You had 3 days off to prepare, and then you look like a team that like partied all night long.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you look like. You look like a team that like got sober in the second half.
Yeah. So 29 first half points. Like, for this team, come on.
Yeah.
De'Aaron had 24 in the first half by himself against Brooklyn.
Oh yeah.
but I totally get, like, this stacked on top of their recent slide makes it like, oh my God, got blown out at home. And again, the fact that it was at home isn't great, but that's a tough loss. Like I'm sorry, not a tough loss. That's just a tough game. So I don't feel better about them, but I also don't feel worse. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like, oh my God, another.
I expected them to lose last night. I told you yesterday.
But yeah, go ahead.
We'll have the same discussion tomorrow, but it'll have a different tone because they will have lost again, and the losing streak will hit 4. But at the same time, I don't think it'll be nearly as like chaotic, and I can't believe this is happening. Yeah,
I'm now, because we talked about after that Minnesota game, they lost in OT. It was Utah, it was Atlanta, it was the Clippers, it was Brooklyn, and we were talking like, all right, you get 3-1 there, then you can lose to Oklahoma City and you feel okay about it. And you lost to Oklahoma City and you don't feel as okay about it.
Yep.
Because now you're not playing well and you've got to go to Minnesota.
Well, that, and Kyle, I think we've talked about this in the past, but the real like identity of the team 2 years ago was resiliency. It was in a game like this where you've dropped a couple of games that you shouldn't have dropped. You come back and you play strong and you find a way to win. That's not who this team is. Not right now. Not at all. Not even close.
Nope.
Like, sorry.
And it might still be there. And if it is, great. I haven't seen it. Somehow Minnesota, I'm just looking ahead real quick. Somehow Minnesota, they're going to be on the second night of a back-to-back.
Okay.
but between November 17th and November 26th, they played. No, I'm sorry. November 25th, they played 3 games.
Oh. So they're well rested, although the back-to-back.
They went November 17th, then didn't play again until November 21st, then didn't play till November 24th.
Yeah.
And now they play the 26th and 20. They have a bunch of games here coming up. That's just wild to me. It's kind of insane. But
yeah,
it doesn't get easier for the Kings. Keon has to start going forward.
No, I think that's the plan.
I thought they played the 21-point loss notwithstanding. I thought again the first 32 minutes of that game they were really, really good. Mm-hmm. They looked as good as they'd looked really all year, which was a positive sign for me. So again, it's not anti Kevin Huerter. It's that this team needed to do something different. And I think if Huerter finds a shot coming off the bench, I think that's now a really valuable bench piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's got to be the move. I don't see any reason to go back.
No, I asked Mike about it in pregame, and I said, look, at what point do you start looking at lineup changes, at rotational shifts? Like, at what point do you do it? And, he's like, he kind of hemmed and hawed, and, we're getting close to that for sure. And then somehow we magically got a incorrect lineup, which included Kevin Huerter, and then that was corrected a few minutes later. And of course, Keon Ellis was inserted into the starting lineup. Look, I think this is what it's the one move that you have. Mike talked about this the other day, how, you don't start your best 5 players, mm-hmm. because if you start your best 5 players and it doesn't work, what do you fall back on? You got nothing else. It's like, oh, the fastball's not working. It's getting hit over the fence. Like, how about you throw the curve? Well, I don't have a curve.
Like, hey, we're gonna rear back and try and throw it harder.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it harder. Yeah, so I get it, but this was kind of the move that was sitting out there that you knew that it was a possibility and was probably, I mean, to be honest with you, it's probably the right move. I don't think, again, that Kevin Huerter should be scapegoated. It's not Kevin Huerter's fault that they've lost all these games. Mm-hmm. He hasn't helped, but it's certainly, I don't put all the blame on Kevin. But now you're going to get the lineup that really played extremely well last season together.
I will say, though, Kevin Huerter off the bench, 0 for 2 from the field and from 3. Because there was only 2 shots. He had 1 rebound, 2 fouls, and was a -9 in 10 minutes.
If that's who he is going forward for the next 2 weeks, then as soon as December 15th hits, you're looking to move him as quickly as possible. You're probably even looking right now, mm-hmm. but you're looking to move him already. The problem that the Kings have, though, is just a general lack of depth everywhere.
That's it.
I mean, we saw it last night. Trey Lyles, I don't even know. We kept watching replays, and it looked like he hit knee to knee. And then we heard it was a right calf injury, and you went back and looked at the knee to knee, and it looked like he got hit in the left leg. And I thought, oh, it's possible he got kicked in the back of the left calf, but it was a right calf injury. Like, the whole thing was like, okay, I don't know what happened there, but I saw him limp off, so I know he was hurt. And he said, like, you could see him mouth, it's my calf. So I don't know. He's probably going to be out for a while because that's what happened during preseason. And
yeah, it's not great.
No, it's not great at all. And so now you're seeing that Isaac Jones has to step up and play. And I don't think that that's on anybody's bingo card this season, that Isaac Jones would play meaningful minutes for a team that's expected to win, upwards of 50 games. And it's like, that's not a dig on Isaac Jones. I really like him, but
he's an undrafted player, and it's November 26th of his rookie year.
Yes.
He's just not ready yet.
No,
not for that substantial of a role.
No.
And, you get thrown into the fire, and maybe there's improvement, and that's great. You get better by playing, but it might be ugly for a while. Well, especially if he's playing significant minutes.
He's been playing really well at the G League level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're hoping. Like, I talked to him in pregame. I said, are you learning a lot, bouncing back and forth? He's like, yeah, I'm learning a ton. He's like, plus I get to play down there.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time. I get to play.
Yeah.
Here I'm watching, there I'm playing. I'm like, yeah. So it's good, like what they're doing here to bring him along, but to have to hit the nitro button, that's not good.
Yeah, man. Not that Trey Lyles was playing like lights out, but he was a really effective player.
But you don't have anyone else.
It's the position. Like, it's just specifically that spot.
Yeah.
Like, Alex Len is a big, but he's not doing what Trey Lyles does.
No, he's a true center that doesn't shoot a bunch of threes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. But again, it all comes back to every Kings problem for the last 2 years has come back to they need more size and athleticism.
Yep. And
here we are. 2024, chugging into 2025 with the same issue.
That's right.
All right. We will have a keyword for you on the Jiffy Lube teamwork play of the game. We'll have one from Sunday's game, and then we'll also have one from last night's game. You can enter to win a $50 Jiffy Lube gift certificate just in time for the holiday driving season. Mike Brown was hit with a hefty fine. We've got more to dig into from last night's game, other looks from around the NBA, and some 49ers injury updates that if their season wasn't already over, that's all coming up. Plus your phone calls at 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. We're hanging out with you till noon on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Leader. And clear. I saw the term top heavy a lot in the chatty house, and that is spot on. I think that's spot on. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Hang on one second, guys. Let me change this. I can't tell you guys how excited I am to someday have a producer who will do all this for us. Yeah, that's it. Like their starting lineup is still like their starting lineup is still one of the best 5-man units in the league. Their closing lineup's good too, but like depth matters so much. Like we've seen it time and time again over the last several years in the NBA. There was that shift from like, oh, you need a big three to you need depth and continuity, and the Kings have the continuity. They have the top end talent, but the depth is just oof. Like look at Oklahoma City, dude. It's like every dude they put on the court can defend and hit a three. It's nuts. I'm not, Drew. Trust. Oh, also, I meant to hit you last night. I asked around because I was very confused on the Debo contract stuff. You were correct. The $10 million. If they do a post June 1 cut, it'd be $10 million next year. But then the $20 million would all get sucked up into 2026 pause. They wouldn't spread out over the void years, which is where my confusion was. So the void years go away on the deal when you do the post June 1 cut. So they would have to eat the $20 million in 2026. And they would say they would have $10 million dead cap hit in 2025. But the person I talked to speculated they might just do like a hard reset like the Rams did and just eat all of their dead cap at once. Just do what they got to do, draft a bunch of young guys and try a hard reset there where they're not kicking money down the road. Yeah. Yeah. On our show the other night, we had some confusion on if they cut Debo next year, what that looks like for their dead cap. And I thought the dead cap spread out over X amount of years, but it does not. So salute to Drew. I'm also not going to get my hopes up that we're going to have a producer anytime soon.
No?
Hey, Zach. Yeah. Yeah, dude. We can talk about this. Kevin Huerter getting hunted on defense. Hey, Jesse, can you come in earlier? Actually, salute to Jesse. I'm going down to SoCal tonight to visit family for the holidays, and I'm doing the show from SoCal tomorrow thanks to Jesse, who is able to come in and fill in for me. Yeah, we don't get to have interns at all. We had interns when I first started at 95.7, and then the pandemic hit, and they just...
You don't think they'll fire that back up?
No.
There is not a Friday show, Bob.
Yeah, no show Friday. Love it for him. Good for HB.
Yeah, first time in his career.
Yeah, basically. And if you're doing a draft of players, the Kings probably have like 5 of the top 7 or 8. But after that, it's rough.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. People's issue with Kyle Shanahan is that they aren't good and have so many good players. I don't think Mike Brown has enough good players. Oh.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
I'm Kyle, he's James. Yeah, could do that. It'd be a lot easier. The funny thing about that is about David Jackson in the chat. Salute to everybody listening on the radio and on the podcast. David Jackson in the chat. We were talking at the break about the difficulties, not difficulties, the extra stuff I have to do that a producer would normally do.
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying I can't wait to have a producer to do all this extra stuff. And whether when we get there, we'll get there. Not complaining. Love my job. But it would be nice to have an extra set of hands. And David Jackson said, "Hey, why doesn't James learn how to run the board?" And that's when, because I'm leaving, so Jesse's got to come in and do all that. It'll be easier to teach James that once we have a producer.
Yeah.
Because they'll handle some of the pre-show stuff that we've got to take care of. That's fine.
Well, that and during the season, like I'm hanging on by a thread most days.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to we'll stick with the Kings game last night because we haven't really talked about the Kings specifically. Keon started, DeRozan, Keegan, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're going to do is dive into 6 quick thoughts.
How'd yesterday's Kings game go?
Bad.
Kings
Not
insider
good.
James Ham has 6 notes you need to know. Here are James Ham's 6 quick thoughts.
Bonus first thought before we get to number 1. We are giving away a $50 Jiffy Lube gift certificate. A winner will be pulled on probably Monday.
Yeah, not Friday.
Because Friday there will be nobody here to do that. So we're giving away a Jiffy Lube gift certificate. And we've got a couple of words for you to enter at ESPN1320.com. The first one is from Sunday's game against the Nets, where Colby Jones had the block that led to a Keon Ellis 3. Terrific play by the couple of young Kings guards. The word for Saturday at ESPN1320.com. You're going to enter at the contest page. Transition. Love a transition 3.
All right. I like that.
Shout out. So that it's really tough when they lose to come up with stuff. So that's what we're going with. A first quarter Colby Jones block leading to a Keon Ellis 3 transition is the word you're entering at ESPN1320.com.
All right.
We'll have a second word later for last night's game.
Okay.
But enter to win that $50 Jiffy Lube gift certificate and get yourself into Jiffy Lube before the holiday driving season begins. Get those brakes checked. Get your tires rotated. Windshield wipers. Air filters.
Oil change.
Yep. Get that stuff done now before you're at your destination and going to leave your destination and realizing that, oh, I should have gone to Jiffy Lube.
Yeah, we don't want you breaking down on the road to grandmother's house.
We do not.
No.
We absolutely do not. I forgot to get the name of that movie.
Oh, yeah.
The insane one about the car breakdown.
That bad Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's awful. I can't wait to watch it again. 6 quick thoughts. James Ham, number 1.
Malik Monk came back. 14 points for his assist. He was good.
Yeah.
He was rusty. he got a little fired up, had some moments, but it's good to see him because he is the system buster. And when you see him pull up for a 27-foot three and it's nothing but net, that's just one of those shots that very few players in the league can come off the bench and just start firing away. And Malik is one of the best, and his energy, everything else, I think he does help this team, and I think it will help them pull out of the rut they're in right now.
Yeah, loved the energy last night. Love that he came off the bench firing 12 shots in his first game since November 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was good to have him back for sure. Because if we were talking about the Trey Lyles injury and no Malik Monk,
oh no,
yikes, dude.
Well, I would just like for one time for them to be healthy with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, and like no team is getting that. So that's just wishful thinking. But now, I mean, I'm going to guess Trey Lyles is going to be out for, I don't know, 2 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know. It was the last time it was 5 weeks. I mean, this is not a short-term injury.
Yeah, for sure. Number 2.
DeRozan played within the flow. I think I was pretty hard on DeMar DeRozan yesterday. I think both of us had some takes about DeMar DeRozan, but they started going to the 2-man game with Domas and DeMar early in the game, like first play right off the bat. And lo and behold, they got cooking, and DeMar looked absolutely spectacular. He finishes with 30 points, 13 to 21 shooting. I didn't think a lot of it was forced. I thought most of it was in the flow of the offense. And I think that's all we're asking.
Yes.
It's not, hey, you don't shoot. You're shooting way too much. Don't shoot anymore. It's, hey, man, you got to do it within the flow. It can't look forced every time. And, you know, it's really tough to rebound when a guy is you know, doing back to the basket, dribble. And you never know when the shot's going up. You never know you don't want to get 3 in the key. It just makes life difficult.
Yeah, man, you're right. That's what we were asking yesterday. Is to not go, all right, DeMar DeRozan's going to put his head down and dribble to his spot and pump fake a couple of times and put up a tough 15-footer, and that's going to be the offense. No, it was exactly what everybody hoped it would be with DeMar DeRozan, where, okay, that mid-range shot is going to be there all the time, but also he's going to pass off of those looks, and the fact that teams are going to double him there, and they're going to alter their defense for when DeMar DeRozan gets going downhill. Like that was what I wanted more to see from DeMar. Is not, oh, we need a bucket here, I'm just going to ignore everything and get out of the offense and go get a tough bucket. I actually thought there were a couple times last night that he probably should have shot it and he didn't.
Yeah.
But still, he led the way with 21 shots, and that was not the problem. The DeMar DeRozan putting shots up was not the issue. It was the fact that it was turning into the offense, and that's not okay.
Yeah. Well, he did have 6 assists. He had 0 turnovers. He did only have 2 rebounds. He went full Harrison Barnes on us, but that's,
I would have killed to have Harrison Barnes shoot it 21 times.
That that only happened maybe once his entire Kings career. Yeah. Shout out to Harrison Barnes, who was Western Conference Player of the Week.
Yeah, hell yeah. First time in his career. Somebody in the chatty house brought that up.
Yeah.
Who was that? Whoever that was in the chatty house, salute to you. Thanks. Tom?
Maybe.
Tom L? Yeah, it was Tom L. Salute to Tom. And to Harrison Barnes. Yeah, really good DeMar DeRozan game. Would love to see more of that moving forward. Number 3.
Number 3, we had a scary moment with Sabonis.
Yeah.
And on the same play, Sabonis and Keon Ellis both got injured, and it was after the Trey Lyles injury, and it was like, oh no, is this going to be one of those games? Sabonis rolled his ankle. He stayed in the game, recovered to put up 21 points, 10 rebounds, 3 or 4 assists, and absolutely bloodied Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah. Sabonis turning his ankle was weird because when it happened, I saw his ankle turn and I went, oh, that's bad, because he did it the same way Malik did, where it was like he rolled it over the toe and not just directly to the side. And that's what Monk did. Like that same kind of action. But then on the replay, it didn't go all the way. Like he definitely tweaked it, but it wasn't like an ankle turn where you're like, oh my God, it might be broken, right? I think he was trying to draw a foul there with some of his reaction. Like I'm sure it hurt.
Yeah.
But was it Kenrich Williams was guarding him there and just boxing him. It was, and so that's kind of what I think was happening is he was trying to play it up a little bit, trying to draw a foul.
Yeah.
He just tripped over his own foot.
Well, I'll tell you too, like I played volleyball for years and you have your friends that have come down under the net on someone's foot and destroy their ankles.
Ugly. Yeah.
And then like most of the time when you have a really, really bad ankle problem, when you have a bad ankle sprain, you're never the same. Like, and it just keeps getting worse every time you do it because the ligaments keep getting more and more stretched. De'Aaron Fox has ankle problems because of a grade 3 that he had at practice one day. And, you know, he wears special ankle braces inside of his signature shoe. And those signature shoes are built specifically for people with ankle braces, which is why he went with Under Armour because of Steph Curry, who had the same problem. Malik Monk has had a few ankle rolls in his career. It's very possible that Sabonis is just a guy with good ankles who's never had ankle problems, who's never had a big ankle sprain. And I'll tell you, I've had like one really dramatic ankle sprain on my right ankle, but my left ankle, I'd never had an ankle sprain. And instead of spraining my ankle, I snapped my ankle, like a clear break right across the ankle bone when I landed on somebody's foot. And it was because my ligaments were strong and not all stretched out.
And that's why you're not in the NBA.
And I'm not in the NBA. Yeah. But I mean, like, I just think Domantas has good ankle. He hasn't had like a long history of ankle sprains that have caused him to have like sort of that stretched out, flimsy ankle that usually leads to a grade 2 or a grade 3 sprain as opposed to like a tweak.
Yeah, it looked bad.
Yeah,
the way he walked off is like, oh no.
But if that's Fox, it is bad.
Yeah.
If that's Monk, it is bad. And that's the problem.
Yeah. Thankfully, Sabonis fine. Another double-double, 21 points, 10 boards. Number 4?
4. Herder out, Ellis in. I think that this was an interesting move by Mike. It's probably his only move.
It's the only logical one. If he had done anything else, we would have come in today like, what was that?
Yeah.
Not Alex Len.
No, that's where we are. I mean, it wasn't Trey Lyles starting. It wasn't like just throwing all caution to the wind and inserting Malik Monk back in the lineup after missing 2 weeks and saying, hey, you're starting tonight. No, I mean, I think this is sort of the next logical move. And I don't know what it means for Kevin Herter moving forward. I think it means he's going to play more small forward and that he's going to be scrapping for minutes. It is what it is. Like he didn't hit shots. And
then got hunted defensively.
He got hunted defensively in this game, but that wasn't the case yesterday on Sunday with the Nets.
Yeah.
You know, I thought defensively he was fine against the Nets.
Yeah.
Some teams you're going to have problems, and other games you're not. It would depend on matchups.
When Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets going downhill at anybody, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. It's not going to be an automatic 20, 25 minutes a night for Kevin Herter anymore. And it's probably going to be largely contingent on whether he's hitting shots or not.
Yep.
Because if he's knocking down threes, if he's going to go 5 of 9 from 3, then he can live with, okay, he gave up a couple buckets. But if he's going to go 0 for 2 and not impact the game on the offensive end, not much reason for him to be out there.
No, and it also moves you one step closer to whether his salary will be used in a trade during this season. It does. I mean, like straight up, there's a definite possibility that he, and it's as much as it is his play, it's also the fact that he only has one more year left after this year. It's a $17 million deal this year. And if you're going to go big game hunting, you're going to go look for an upgrade using draft capital or whatever. You know, a guy like Kevin Herter's salary might be the salary that you're using to go get that. Yeah. And I'd say the same with Trey Lyles at this point. Like Trey would love to be here long term, but the fact is he's on an expiring deal at $8 million, and Trey Lyles and Kevin Herter is $25 million worth of salary, and that can be traded for up to $30 million worth of salary.
Yeah.
So
that's a really good player.
Yeah. There's theoretically, there's a lot of flexibility here. And that's something that I think the Kings might start, looking to at least.
I'd be shocked if they haven't already started looking into it. And if they haven't, then they need to.
I'm pretty sure they already did during the offseason, and now we're at a
Sure.
different stage where your team's not playing well. And again, I don't think it's Kevin Huerter's fault that they're not playing well at all. Kevin Huerter is again one of the symptoms to the team not playing well, but there are plenty of issues here.
They're not a Kevin Huerter turnaround away from being 12-4.
No.
12-5.
Nope.
Whatever. Number 5.
Number 5, no whistles, no star whistle for Fox. You could see him just getting absolutely so frustrated that Shea is getting every single whistle and he's not getting any. And he's just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like the steal, and that was the one that really, like, he had a clean swipe and he's on his way.
So bad.
I didn't get to see the replay. Again, we need to do a better job of getting like a replay board in front of us.
A replay monitor.
But like for my money, it looked about as clean as you can get, and for that matter, Fox is that type of player. He's known for that, and to see a whistle on what looked like a pretty clean pick, like he lost his mind, and that's 2 games in a row that he's picked up a tech, I believe. It's either 2 games in a row or 2 out of 3 that he's picked up a tech for chirping at officials. And I don't blame him. And like you could see very clearly, he looked at the official and said, just call it both ways.
Yeah.
Just call it both ways.
I believe it is, not to nitpick, 2 out of 4, I believe.
It was that long ago?
Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And the game they lost by 1?
Oh, that's right. It was the whistle. Yeah. For me, like, look, Fox isn't asking for a foul on every play. He's not that guy. He's not Luka. But he definitely is a guy who chirps at the officials and like he wants it called fair. He doesn't understand that you would favor somebody when you're supposed to be an impartial judge.
Sure.
And that gets under his skin, and I don't blame him. And it's the same thing that we talked about early that frustrates me in this whole situation. Just call it straight up. That's all.
Yeah, man. That's it.
Yep.
That's all. It's not more whistles or fewer whistles. It's just do it the same on both sides.
Yeah.
That's it. Not that bad of an ask. Number 6.
It's
not even an ask. It's just a job. Sorry. Go ahead. Now I'm frustrated again. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah.
Number 6. We'll reset. There we go.
Keegan Murray's stringing together some solid outings. I know people are pissed that he's not hitting his 3-point shot, and he's not happy about it either. He's 2 of 8 from 3 last night, but like defensively, he's still really good. 14 points, a block, 2 steals, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. Like, look, he's still the player that the Kings are hinging a lot of their hopes on. And they might be frustrated that he's not hitting his 3-point shot, like within the walls. Like everybody can be frustrated that he's not hitting his 3-point shots at a high clip. And it's weird because he can hit one. And I talked to Mark Jones about this last night. Like he can hit one and then come down the next play and overshoot it and airball it long.
It's insane.
It's absolutely bizarre. Like his whatever, he's not off side to side. He's off like depth wise.
I keep waiting for him because I've been confident all year, and I'm going to remain so. Talk to me at Christmas. I'm going to remain confident that at some point Keegan Murray's shot is going to start falling. We're due for a like 8 of 10 type of game, 9 for 11 type of game from Keegan from 3. I really feel that in my bones. Granted, I've felt that for a week and a half now, and we've still not gotten it. But every time he hits one, I go, okay, that's the one that's going to get him going.
Yep.
That's the one. He needed to see that. But you're right. He'll come down next time and slam one off the backboard. It's like, what? Whoa.
It's totally bizarre.
What is that? But to your point, and this is what we were just talking about with Kevin Huerter, is when Kevin Huerter's shot isn't falling, it's like, hey, get him off the floor. Like he can't play. But when Keegan's shot isn't falling and he's going to go 2 of 8 from 3, he's going to go get some rebounds. Very good offensive rebounder. He's going to play great defense. He's going to find some lanes, find cutting lanes, and get a couple of easy baskets that way. He's going to impact the game in ways that a guy like Kevin Huerter is not, or pick a shooter.
Yeah.
Like that's why he can miss his threes. And it's like, okay, well, you give him some leeway because he still had, what do you have, 20 last night, 21?
He had 14 last night.
14 last night.
14 and 10.
21.
Yeah, he had 14 and 10.
14 and 10.
That was his 7th double-double of the season already.
Yeah, man.
Last year he had 8 total.
Yeah, he's being an impactful player.
Yeah.
That's it. Go be impactful. And that's why I'm less concerned about when Keegan Murray's missing than I am when Kevin Huerter's missing.
No, totally. Yeah.
JT Money 916 said that we're being too soft on Kevin. And that it is all his fault.
Really?
Your thoughts?
I just don't buy it. I mean, in all honesty,
I'm not letting everybody else off the hook, dude.
Yeah.
I guess just like Keegan he's learning to impact games. Keegan had a really bad stretch of games for a while.
Keegan shooting 29.5 from 3.
Like, come on, man. We've talked about DeMar DeRozan and working within the flow of the offense.
Yep.
I think there was a whole effort issue against the Clippers. There are so many things that we can point to. Domas' turnover problem has been there. There's a host of issues. Kevin Huerter is one of them, but this is not this is not solely a Kevin Huerter problem.
No, totally. Look, Kevin has not been a perfect player at all. And coming back from injury, I think he's actually played. He's been okay, but like I see same JT Money 916. Keegan has trouble getting in rhythm when Kevin Huerter's out there chucking. Kevin Huerter had 2 shots last night. Like and Keegan shot 2 of 8. So like, look, man, that's just not the case. Like, do they have a similar style? The way that they like to get their threes somewhat, but Keegan is even more of a a corner 3-point shooter. And you can look at the numbers. Keegan Murray shooting like 17% on open threes.
It's so bad.
It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense at all. And again, I think Keegan Murray is going to be a very good player in the league for a long time. He's just having some weird growing pains in season 3. And he had some weird growing pains in season 2, but the Kings keep changing who he is and what he's going to be. And that's not easy, because I could very well see the Kings right now shopping, going out and going, okay, do we get a small forward? Do we get a power forward? I don't care. Just get one. We don't care what position it is. We'll just move Keegan to whatever position he's not. And if we need to move DeMar DeRozan to the 2, Keegan to the 3, and we bring in a 4, we bring in a Kyle Kuzma to play the 4. Okay. That means that Keegan now has to reinvent himself again, because he's not going to be playing against the bigger, stronger power forwards of the league. Yeah. He's going to have to figure out how to play against small forwards again. And that means he probably needs to lean down a few pounds and drop some of the bulk. And like, look, they have been using him all over the court for all 3 of his seasons now. And there's going to come a point where he settles in and he's fine. It's just not 18 games into the season. And I know it's frustrating, but a lot has stayed the same and a lot has changed for the Kings.
To me, I think he is settling in, though. When he's not, it's when he scores 5 points on 3 shots.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, oh man, he is not there. But it's really clear that he knows he's struggling shooting from 3. He's not shooting them. He shot 8 last night. But now you got to find different ways to impact the game. And I think that's why, just circling this back to Kevin Huerter before we wrap this up and move on, that's where Kevin Huerter becomes an issue. Is because there's not that other pitch. We talked about, as a team, you have to have a different pitch. You have to be able to throw a curveball. Huerter doesn't have one.
No.
He's gonna shoot threes, and if it's not going down, I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of minutes for him.
Yeah, I agree with that I don't think there will be a lot of minutes, but I also think like Kevin can rebound, Kevin can pass the ball. He's really effective inside the key as a scorer. Like, there are other things that the Kings don't always ask Kevin to do, but like Kevin has been one of the better like 2-man game players with Domas.
Sure.
Even last year when he didn't have a good season, still one of the better 2-man, getting in the 2-man game with Domas.
There's that's nice.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like he's not being an effective player.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I get benching him, and to be honest with you, I don't think it's all his fault what's happening with this team. But he not only is he a symptom, but he's also like he is part of the problem.
Mhm.
Like I'm not saying he's not part of the problem.
Definitely.
He's part of the
Without
problem. He's not hitting his shots. Like nobody's hitting their shots on a consistent basis, except for feels like Domas. Yeah, Domas. We keep like I actually do at this point want him shooting 5 threes a game. Yeah.
We are here. Let's go.
I mean, is it 2.5? That's not enough. I mean, he's shooting 40% still. Man, you're a good 3-point shooter.
He still does that catch and he'll like line it up and
he
then
did, like, 3
lean
times.
forward and put like dog. Put it on the rim.
And then he hit one.
Shoot it.
Yep.
That's James. I'm Kyle. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We'll continue talking Kings. We've also got some 49ers stuff to dive into. I also want to talk about De'Aaron Fox, who didn't have his best night last night, and I want to know why. We're the Insiders, Jiffy Lube, etc. Voice guy.
What's going on?
I need to go get some water.
All right.
You'll see my new backpack. Not to brag. It's Odyssey branded.
You got the new Odyssey bag?
Yeah, dude. With my fucking points.
I need to
Kevin was like, it takes forever to get there. It got here in like a week.
I need to point grift. Like I need a bag.
Yeah, hell yeah. Point grift.
Oh. Hey. Cool. What's going on, everybody? Kyle has left me. I'm all alone. All by myself. Tom, I don't think Herter's a negative asset. This is a good question. I don't think he's a negative asset. He's not a positive asset. The way I look at him is like not as an expiring contract. Because he's got one more year, but a contract that someone is willing to take and take for 2 years. Let me see. I'll let you read. I think we forgot about that other element. Yeah. Again, I don't think he's a full-on negative asset. I don't think he's going to get you anything of, you're sort of looking at other teams that are in similar situations. So like Washington looking at Kyle Kuzma saying, okay, what are we doing with Kyle Kuzma? And I think Kuzma's got 2 years after this year. And so maybe you would do a swap there. Or, again, New Orleans could be at some point this season saying, okay, we need to get a first-round pick for Brandon Ingram. And so, like, how do we get a first-round pick for Brandon Ingram? And so they would take on, 2 years of Kevin Huerter versus 1 year, the 6 months left of Brandon Ingram. Oh. The Atlanta Hawks just got fined $100,000 for the league's player participation policy.
Wait, I'm sorry. What's happening here?
The Hawks got
No, I'm. Somebody said I'm censoring free speech. I don't understand.
what are you talking about? JT Money?
Did I miss something?
Yeah. What are you talking about there, JT Money?
JT Money, help me help you.
Oh, your moderator.
My moderator. There's a no all caps rule. That's on you, dog. It's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. Type in all lowercase and drag Kevin Herter all you want.
Yep.
That is what we're here for.
You could also try punctuation. I don't know.
There we go. Oh, nope. Hour number 2. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Rocking with you until noon. Then we'll hand it off to D-Lo and KC. Call the Oak Grove Kia Talk line 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. Mitch, I see you on the line. Hang in there for just a bit. Take a look around the NBA. We'll talk about the 49ers here coming up. I want to remind you that the holiday driving season is coming up, and we're trying to hook you up with a $50 Jiffy Lube gift certificate. And we're doing that with the Jiffy Lube Teamwork Play of the Game.
Mm-hmm.
Tough to find a play of the game last night. So, in honor of the Kings losing 4 games in a row, the second keyword of the day is streak. Streak at ESPN1320.com at the Jiffy Lube contest page. The first word was transition from a transition bucket from Sunday's game, and then streak after they lost last night to make it a 4-game losing streak. You can enter both those words at ESPN1320.com and enter for your chance to win a $50 Jiffy Lube gift certificate, and you can get to Jiffy Lube just in time for the holiday driving season. Get that oil change, man.
I know.
Is this right?
They have a $33 coupon right now. Go to jiffylube.com. You can get a coupon for $33 off your oil change.
Oh, hell yeah. Get new wiper blades.
Yeah.
You need that for when the rain starts.
Have them check your headlights, Kyle.
Dude, big time.
Like, what if you have a headlight out and you don't realize it? Like, safety first.
Terrifying. You don't want that. Headlights, light bulbs, brake lights, etc., etc. Also, get that battery replaced.
That's right.
You do not want to be somewhere in the freezing cold and have your car battery die.
No.
Trust.
Yeah, and it's pretty simple. Like, when you go to start your car when it's super cold outside and it's just a little slow to turn over, it's like
That's scary. That's scary.
That means that the battery is going. That means that it's time. Go down to Jiffy Lube. They'll take care of you. Install a new battery for you.
Most locations open at like 7:30 a.m.
7:30. They've been around since 1984. Yeah.
Find the location nearest you at jiffylube.com. Mitch is in New Jersey. Mitch, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Kyle, James.
Doing
Shout
great.
out to Drew and Katrina. Tough crowd in the chat room.
Okay.
Kings are kind of like the Chargers. They never get to the big game. Same history, talent, but just not enough. They're good, but they're not like good enough. We gotta get another forward. We gotta get another rebound shooter, especially someone that can rebound, play some D. Excuse me. As I understand, I know we had some poor draft choices. I know you can't do anything by yesterday or worry about tomorrow, but they gotta make themselves a trade to make the season worth getting the top 6 because there's a chance that we could not make the playoffs, and I hope we have a number 1 pick in next year.
Oh, all right. Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate it, buddy. Love to win the Cooper Flag sweepstakes.
Yeah. Well, that, and you got to remember the Kings have a top 10. Their pick is still the Atlanta Hawks, but I believe this year it's top 10 protected. So yeah, If you're in the top 10, you get to keep that pick again.
So tankathon.com is the site I use just to keep track of the NFL draft order,
Yep.
which is something that I'm now looking at as a person who does a 49ers blog. Season's going great. 49ers slated to pick 17th right now. But while I was there, because when you go to tankathon.com, it defaults to the NBA one. And so I simulated the lottery.
Oh.
And the Kings at the time were not in the top 12, and they jumped into the top 12, which is where they would keep their pick. They're currently 11th.
I think they're tied for 11th. Oh no.
No, they're by themselves.
Oh man. Kyle, they're only a half game ahead of your Detroit Pistons.
I'm trying to move them up.
Oh.
Having a really hard time.
You're going to sim this thing?
Yeah, I'm on simulation number 9, and I haven't gotten to move them up. They've only moved down twice. No, we're not quite there yet. We're not in the simulated lottery era of the
Nighttime.
season.
I got the first overall
Come
pick.
on,
Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag. You are
Cooper
a Sacramento King. Let's go.
That's right.
No, let's put a pin in the Sacramento Kings for a bit. We will get back to that. 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan spoke to the media yesterday. And had some interesting thought. Like, look, here's where we know the 49ers are at. Because we saw them in 2021 start 3-5. Their 5th loss was a home loss to Colt McCoy and the Cardinals, where they beat them 31-17. It was not a competitive game. Arizona State legend, Benjamin, ran over Drake Kirkpatrick, and it was a tough scene. Not a great game. Dropped him to 3-5. And everybody went, hey, your rookie number 3 overall pick should probably play quarterback now. Your season's over. And Kyle Shanahan said, well, technically, the season's not over. We could go on a run, and so we're going to keep doing what we think gives us the best chance to win. All right, man. And hey, it worked. They went 10-7. They made the playoffs. That's going to be their philosophy. No matter what you think, no matter how you feel, no matter how banged up they are mathematically in the playoff race. They're a game out of the division. So you know what? They're going to keep trying. And I think that's fair. I think that's the right thing to do. That is the right thing for a team to do. If you have a chance, keep going for it.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, he had some injury updates. Brock Purdy threw yesterday, pain-free. They're going to rest him till Wednesday and hope that he can go Sunday.
All right.
Okay. Nick Bosa and Trent Williams, still day-to-day. No idea on them. Don't love that.
No.
Aaron Banks, starting left guard, in concussion protocol, which is bad news for an already bad offensive line. To make it worse, Dominic Pooney, the right guard, having an MRI on his shoulder. TBD on his status.
How?
Dialmador Lenore, breakout star cornerback, MRI on his knee. Status TBD.
I feel like, number one, with anytime the 49ers do get someone signed to an extension, then they need an MRI on their knee right afterwards. Number two, has Pooney been as good as he was early in the season?
Yeah, man, he's been really good.
He's holding up, right?
He's been like their second best offensive lineman.
Yeah, behind Trent.
Yeah, by a pretty wide margin. Yeah, their offensive line stinks.
Can you move him somewhere else other than right guard? I mean,
he played tackle in college.
Okay.
So you could theoretically play him at right tackle if that's what you want to do moving forward, but he's been rock solid at right guard. And so given their philosophy of just finding guys who are starting caliber, I think he probably stays there.
Okay.
That's my guess anyway. But yeah, man, like, they weren't good when they were healthy. And we talked about this last week. Like, they were never really healthy, right? Like, Christian McCaffrey was out, and Dre Greenlaw's been out, and this and that. But to me, they've still had plenty of talent to go win these games. And when they've lost these games, it's like, man, it's mistakes within that game. It's a turnover here. It's a blocked punt there. It's a dropped pass there and a missed field goal there.
Fumble on a kick return.
Fumble on a kick return. Like, it's all these different issues that went outside like the scope of their injury problems. But now it's reached this point. I didn't think they were going to win the Bills game regardless. The Bills are awesome. And you got to go on the road. That was going to be a tough game, whether this was last year's 49ers, this year's 49ers, are the 1994 49ers. Like, that's just going to be a tough game.
It feels like yesterday's Sacramento Kings, Oklahoma City Thunder game.
Yes.
Like you could have a great game
Mhm.
and you're probably still going to lose.
Yes. But again, like, are they mathematically in the playoff hunt? Like, yeah, sure. They're going to treat it as such. Yeah, sure. But the fact they came out so flat against Green Bay doesn't give me a lot of hope that they're going to lock in against Buffalo.
Yeah.
That they're still going to be this banged up, or it looks like they're still going to be this banged up. You're not winning a game that Brandon Allen's starting. You're not winning a game where you don't have Nick Bosa. You're probably not winning a game where you don't have Trent Williams.
Wow.
So it felt over after this Sunday. But you could talk yourself into, if they're healthy, okay, well, hey, now back's really against the wall. Maybe Buffalo it throws their jerseys on the field and thinks they can go win. You pop them in the mouth on prime time and you go get a nice win and you use that to nah. I can't even get there because, I mean, you're missing one or two of your starting offensive linemen, maybe three.
Potentially three.
Missing your best cornerback. Ugh.
And you already had, you're missing both your cornerbacks.
Yeah, Travarius Ward's back in the building. I imagine he plays this week after getting a full week of practice to ramp up.
Back last week, though.
Yeah.
He's going to play when he feels comfortable. And like, look, you take as long as you need,
yeah,
man.
He does. Yeah,
you take as long as you need.
If he wants to sit the rest of the year, nobody's going to blame him.
No.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It makes sense. Like, you had a 5-year run if you're the 49ers. You had this 5-year window where you were really good. You didn't get it done. That window's closing. Like, this is just kind of how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's pretty rare that you go from like title contender to, okay, well, they're going to be like a second round exit and then they're going to make or miss the playoffs for a couple of years. Like, no, it's pretty rare in the NFL that happens. It's usually like, hey, you go from Super Bowl contender to 7-10. And that looks like where this is heading.
Yeah, it's
disappointing.
On occasion, this is the way you almost are forced to reset at the NFL level, even if it's just resetting, like understanding you're going to have one down season so you can have a few more good ones.
Yeah, that's what the Rams did.
Yeah,
I think that's 100% what the 49ers should do. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were discussing how the 49ers kind of move forward here. And he brought up that next year they could do this is a friend who covers the team. They could just do a hard reset with their cap where Deebo Samuel gone, Javon Hargrave gone, and you more or less just have a year where, hey, you're not going to be very good. You're still going to have some top end guys, Bosa, Warner, Purdy, maybe Ayuk. You'll still have McCaffrey. But you're going to be starting a lot of young players. You're going to be relying a lot on late round draft picks, maybe bringing a bunch of undrafted guys, so you can cultivate that competition and see if, hey, maybe you land on a couple of pieces. That's what the Rams did. In 2021, the Rams won the Super Bowl. The next year, they went 5-12 because they said, hey, to heck with all this. We're just going to eat all this dead cap. We're going to have this down year. The next year, they went 10-7 and they were back in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
This year, they're back in the playoff hunt. They're 5-6 again, but I think that's what the Niners got to do, is hit that hard reset button, take whatever dead cap hits you need to take, wipe them out so you're not battling those into 2026 and 2027, and just have a down year.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's legal.
Well, I think everyone thought this would be like the Blaze of Glory season, like go out in a blaze of glory and then make your tough cap hits this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't realize that last season was a blaze of glory.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're stuck like with this, like, oh, okay. Beat up season, marginal.
And that's just, but I guess that's just it. Like, there were the expectations for sure, but I talked about it on this show and on D-Lo and KC on this station. I talked about it on Candlestick Chronicles, the 49ers podcast I host. Like, the 9-8 year was on the table. The year where, man, they had really great injury luck last year and probably not going to be as good this year.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Bowl hangover where, man, you know what? You'll lose a couple of games that you probably shouldn't have lost. Like, this was always on the table. That's why I'm not freaking out and firing people. Because, yeah, they have a lot of talent. Yeah, the expectations are high. Yeah, the season's disappointing. But they were primed for it.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks. they may never bounce back. This may be the end of this era of 49ers football. But this happens, dudes.
It was going to end one way or another.
That's it.
It doesn't. Nobody just gets to keep going, except for like the Braves in the 90s.
Yeah,
the 2000s.
And people will point to the Patriots. What the Patriots did was unprecedented and unbelievable. And they had Tom freaking Brady. And also Bill Belichick, pretty good coach.
Yep.
Tom Brady, pretty good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
You have a historic run, an anomaly. The Kansas City Chiefs, same thing. They're having a historic run with it's an anomaly. And you can say, well, we just saw it from the Patriots. Okay. There's twice.
They have the Chiefs also have 15 years to go.
Yeah. Yeah, they do kind of have maybe 12, 13 years before we start to look at it the same way.
It's a lot of years to go before they're certainly on track. But yeah, man, it's honestly and in that vein, Tom Brady is the whole Jets hype this year is Tom Brady's fault. Because everybody looked at 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers and went, well, Tom Brady threw more touchdown passes in his 40s than he did in his 20s.
Was this Tom Brady's last middle finger to the Jets? I don't know.
Making everybody think Aaron Rodgers is going to be good? Maybe. But I think that's why people aren't going to people aren't going to age like LeBron James. Most people aren't going to age like Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Those are outliers. The Patriots were an outlier. So they had a bad year. If it continues to suck beyond next year, then let's have a different conversation. But it's disappointing. They had the talent to be better. They are 3 or 4 plays away from being in the lead in their division right now, and maybe we're having a different conversation.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
But they haven't been good.
Yeah.
Whether you think they should have been or not, they haven't been. The results kind of speak for themselves. So maybe they win in Buffalo.
Maybe
I would bet the house.
And then we have this crazy conversation change next. Wait, are they back? And
if they beat the Bills, they'll be so back.
And then they'll play the Lions 2 weeks later.
It'll be so over.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So they'll my focus for the 49ers is beyond 2024. If they make a miracle run, I'll be the first one. I'll be first in line to admit my wrongness.
Yeah.
But the season looked over after week 3, and it hasn't looked much different.
No. So many missed opportunities. But again, at a certain point, you have to be at a level where those missed opportunities don't hurt you and cost you game after game. And they're just not. They're not at that level.
Not right now. Right now. The expectation will be that they get back there quickly, and if they're not, that's when they'll have the conversations about firing people and moving on, etc. So, he's James. I'm Kyle. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Hanging out with you until noon. We'll hand it off to D'Lo and Casey then, and they'll take you up to 4:00. Not Monday Night Football. That was last night. We have basketball for you today, right here on ESPN 1320, beginning at 4:00. After D'Lo and Casey, we will have the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Miami Heat in Miami. That game right here on ESPN 1320, beginning at 4:00. Speaking of around the NBA, the Mavs beat the Hawks last night, 129-119. They're now 2-1 without Luka Doncic and 5-1 in their last 6.
Trade him. No.
Is it time to trade Luka Doncic?
Is it time to trade Luka Doncic?
I bought into the Mavs big time going into this year, and they weren't playing well. If you follow, is it Kirk Henderson from Mavs Moneyball? He's the Mavs guy I follow, and it was like doom and gloom there for a second. It was like this team is unwatchable, because they had lost, well, oddly enough, 4 in a row. They lost to Phoenix, Denver, Golden State, and then Utah. And then they went on this winning streak, 5 out of 6. Their only loss was an OT loss at Miami last Sunday or this Sunday. The Mavs are good, man. I think I'm in on the Mavs still. This little turnaround's been nice for them.
I still don't look at them as like a top 2-3 team just because they made it to the finals last year. Maybe they catch lightning in a bottle again, and Luka is extremely difficult to defend in the playoff series. But He's not having a good season. He's not playing
Mhm.
all that well. I mean, and for a guy who's averaging 28.1, 7.6, and 7.6,
Mhm.
to say he's not having a good season, but in all honesty, he's not. He's not shooting the ball well. He's not shooting from three very well. Like overall, he's down 6 points per game off of last season,
Mhm.
and maybe that's by design. But they also have the pieces, and that's what I think we see. We see a very underperforming PJ Washington at this point. You see the addition of Klay Thompson. Klay's really not shot the ball well either.
Didn't play last night.
Yeah, he's fine from three, but he's shooting 38.3% from the field. That's not great.
Dude, tried to tell everyone, but no. Don't want to listen to Kyle. 32 points for Kyrie last night. 23 for Jaden Hardy. 22 for Najee Marshall.
Ooh.
Like they have way more players this year than they had last year. And that's why I'm in on the Mavericks. Because you're right, Luka's not playing as well. But they have enough depth this year that if Luka's out, they can still go dominate a game where they don't have Luka or Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
And that's a significant deal.
I'd also say one of the keys, I think, to Dallas is their build, right? Is that players like Luka, ball dominant players, like there aren't a bunch of those guys in the league, but you got another one in Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
So if something happens with Luka, or when Luka steps off the floor, you're still playing the same style of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But go up and down their roster. It's the same thing. You have Derek Lively, you have and you have Daniel Gafford.
Mm-hmm.
So when Daniel Gafford steps off the floor, it's a very similar style of player. You're doing the same exact things. You're not reinventing the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, it might be one of the downfalls of the Sacramento Kings, that the players that they have are so unique that there is, like, I can say you have De'Aaron Fox and you have Malik Monk. Similar, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Different tiers of players.
Different tiers,
similar
but
styles.
Similar style. And so you can actually run some of the same stuff.
Mm.
But there is no replacing a Domantas Sabonis. And when he goes out of a game, you're literally reinventing the wheel every time.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what Trey Lyles does, or Alex Len, or Isaac Jones, or Orlando Robinson. They can't do what Domas does, and that's because not very many people in the league can.
Yep.
And so you run into this problem that when he steps off the floor, you have to change everything in order to make it work. And it's one of the flaws in the team build here, that you haven't gone out and at least tried to get a player like that, that can do some of the things that he can do. Because
Drew Timmy.
Yeah, like it's just really difficult to have like continuity for 48 minutes when one guy has such a huge impact on the game, and when he steps off the floor, you have no one that can do anything else like anything similar. And so again, I think it's part of the beauty of the build when it comes to the Warriors. You have set shooters in PJ Washington and Klay Thompson.
And Mavericks.
The Mavericks. Yeah. And PJ Washington, Klay Thompson, you have these, you've built this, system where the players are they're interchangeable.
Plug and play. Yeah.
Yeah. And even like go back to the 2002 Sacramento Kings. It's Weber and Divac. They're not the same player, but they're interchangeable.
Yes.
And just go up and down the roster, like Hito Turkoglu and Peja Stojakovic. They're, again, different tiers, but they're interchangeable. And so you can plug in a guy like Scott Pollard, but he still has to have a role that's like the dirty work guy. He's not filling in for Vlade Divac. And it's also why the Kings, when things started to go south with Vlade's back and stuff, or with Weber's knee, they went out and got Brad Miller. Similar style of player. Yep. So that's something that like I've been talking about for a couple of years, and it's why I bring up Mason Plumlee. Like, he's not Domantas Sabonis, but you don't have to scrap everything when if he were to come in the game. He knows how to play that system.
Right.
He knows what to do in the 12 minutes that Domas isn't on the court.
Kelly Olynyk available?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm
plays for the Raptors. Maybe he
joking. I'd go get Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah,
for that very reason. I kind of think that's a little bit the 49ers problem too. Is when Debo's out, you can't replace him in your offense. He just does so many unique things. Christian McCaffrey's out, you don't replace him in your offense.
But see, the problem is when Debo stops playing, when he stops being Debo, and you didn't replace him and you don't trust Cowing, then like what do you do?
Right. Same thing. George Kittle. You can't just replace him. Like you're going to have to do something very different offensive.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit what they're running into this year.
Yeah.
But
Top heavy.
Yep. A lot of top a lot of top heaviness between those two clubs. All right. We'll keep looking around the NBA. We'll have the handoff. One of D'Lo or Casey. I think it's a D'Lo day today. That'll be coming up in about 20 minutes. He'll jump in and we'll chat about the Kings last night, get his thoughts on that. We'll look around the NBA and chat with D'Lo. Coming up next, he's James. I'm Kyle. We're the Insiders. And we're sponsored by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320. It's Sacramento Sports Leader. Oh, in theory, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Sean, I wish that like he's just not an NBA player, unfortunately, at this point. But like you guys understand what we're talking about here, right? It's like it's probably the one ingredient, and it's like really, really difficult to replace a guy like Domantas Sabonis. But it's also why I was so stunned that the Kings didn't draft Trace Jackson Davis.
Yeah.
That's your guy. I mean, he can't shoot the three at all, but that is basically, he was a shot blocking version of Domantas Sabonis at the college level.
A really good passer. Can catch a lob. The Monk TJD pick and roll would be so fire.
Yeah. I like.
All right, Adrian, relax.
Probably not.
Are you a Chris Biederman burner, Adrian?
Yeah. Is your name really Chris Biederman?
The turnover problem has been bad.
Who's the dude from Indiana that's looking good in Miami, JT Money?
Khalil Ware?
Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely him. I'm so damn smart.
Just a dude playing a dude.
Disguised as another dude.
Disguised as another dude. Let me see. Yeah, Khalil Ware's
Just because it's a theme song, don't make it not true.
Played a total of 48 minutes on the season. Just saying. Khalil. Oof.
Yeah, we had this conversation last week when Connect scored 37.
Yeah. Look, and if you think he's going to be good, if you're the Kings, you think he's going to be good, you might be able to get through the next month and a half with Malik Monk and Keon Ellis and even a little bit of Colby Jones, maybe a little bit of Mason Jones at that shooting guard position, if you do have to do something crazy like trade Kevin Huerter. Because that will give you the depth once he's there. I also don't think there's a crazy amount of pressure on Devin Carter. Like,
Maybe a little bit.
yeah, but still, you have to give a rookie, 2 years. I want to see what these all guys look like 2 years from now.
Here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Man, the Timberwolves, the NBA Cup court is heinous, dude.
Oh, no.
Have you ever seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, the live action ones from the early 90s?
I'm sure I
maybe
have.
late 80s.
Yeah.
With was it called the ooze, the green stuff? That's what their floor looks like.
Oh, no.
It is so ugly.
Now I have to Google this.
I want to I'm trying to do this on the fly where I share the screen for people watching on the stream. This photo is courtesy of the homie Mags, who's a Wolves season ticket holder. Isn't that nasty?
No, they did not.
Yeah, youtube.com/ESPN 1320, twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. If you want to check this out. This is disgusting.
Someone got loose with a highlight pen, with a highlight marker.
Yeah, several different shades of it. It's so bad. Mountain Dew is that's a good descriptor for it. It is Mountain Dew colored.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I lived through the 80s and I saw people wear clothing like that color, but
Nickelodeon slime is a good call.
It was shocking when it happened.
Dude, the Denver court is bad too. Like, I'm all for the different courts for the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament.
Yeah.
But have some decorum. Have a little foresight to be like, hey, what is this going to look like on television? Is this going to make people's eyes bleed? And I'm super not overreactionary on that kind of stuff. I love things that just look different. I love fun uniforms. The Colts alternates this weekend were bad. The all blue with the black helmet, didn't like it. But for the most part, I'm like in. Just anything different. Like, yeah, hey, I want to see something. This is bad. You can't do this. What is, you can't.
The Kings aren't playing on that, are they?
No, this is tonight.
Okay.
The NBA Cup is tonight. Tuesdays and Fridays.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So yeah, no, Kings won't play on this. Thank God.
Who has the red court? The red court is really off-putting as well.
Is that the Bulls?
I don't think so.
Might be the Bulls.
It's really, really red.
It's like, shout out to the Kings for just doing a gray one.
It is the
Thank
Bulls.
you.
You're right. You're right.
Look at me go. I got one.
It's really, really, really red. Actually, there's a second one. This isn't the one I was thinking. But my goodness. That is crazy.
Ugh.
Oh, that's tough.
Anyways, all right. I just saw that. And elsewhere around the NBA last night, speaking of other NBA teams, the Celtics beat the Clippers 126-94. I don't know how you defend Boston, man. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
They're going to put up 50 plus threes and they're going to hit 20 plus of it. They're going to score 60 a night from the 3-point line. Like, you just have to pencil that in.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well,
besides pray they miss.
The other thing is that they play incredible defense. So while they're hitting all those threes, like, you also have to deal with the fact that they're going to lock you down on the other end. So even if you're trying to just get easy buckets at the rim, you're not getting them. But they might even let you do that as opposed to giving up a three, and they just systematically pull away.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they are very, very good. They, again, I think that they will probably win a second straight title.
I think so too.
Barring some sort of traumatic injury down the stretch.
All due respect to Cleveland, who's been awesome. All due respect to Oklahoma City, who we know is awesome. You got to beat the Celtics 4 times in 7 games. Don't see it right now.
Nope. Don't see it.
The Magic beat the Hornets 95-84. I don't have a lot on this one. The Magic are just doing a lot better without Paolo than I thought. And it's because Franz Wagner's been awesome.
Yeah, they've adjusted, man.
Really good player.
I didn't expect that. They're
neither.
12-7 right now. They're one of 4 teams now that are over 500 in the East.
How many?
They have 4 teams over
Look
500.
at the East.
And then the Heat are at 500. So they have 5 teams that are 500 or better. And then they have a group of teams that are starting to figure it out. The Bucks are 8-9. The Pacers are 8-10. Brooklyn's 8-10. 8-11 for the Pistons. Your Pistons.
Love my Pistons.
A couple of teams at 7-11. Yeah. I don't know. The Kings would no longer be they would be the tied for the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference.
I'm stuck on this Celtics thing just real quick.
Yeah.
They are making 19 threes a game. The Kings are making 11.
That's tough. You remember the Kings were at
57 to 33. You're just going to be down off the bat.
Yeah.
Oh,
the Kings are closing that gap a little bit. You remember it was 15 allowed, and they were only hitting 10.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at a negative 15 point differential just from 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've tightened that up just a little bit, and again, just a little bit can matter.
It's now 12. They're allowing 15. They're hitting 11.
Okay. Yeah.
So they've shaved it by 1 3. Keep chipping away at that.
Keep chipping away.
Chip. The Knicks scored 145 points against the Nuggets last night.
Ooh.
In regulation time. The Knicks offense, sneaky awesome. Don't know what they're doing defensively still, which is kind of insane, given their roster and their coach. But they're scoring the heck out of the basketball. Good for them.
Yeah, it's like when Mike Brown had the number 1 rated offense in NBA history and one of the worst defenses ever.
Yeah. I still don't know. The Knicks I expected to be this defensive juggernaut, and they haven't been. What's their
OG Anunoby went for 40 last night. 40. 5 of 7 from 3. 40 on 23 shots.
They are 22nd in defensive rating according to Basketball Reference and 2nd in offensive rating. The Knicks.
Wow.
Insane. The Pistons, my Pistons beat the Raptors 102-100. I think the Raptors are having the ideal NBA season for a bad team.
Okay.
They are now, as we check the updated standings, 4-14. They have 2 more wins than the last place Wizards, 1 more win than the 76ers, who are 3-13.
They did get Scotty Barnes back last night.
They did. They got our guy.
Scotty Barnes.
31, 14, and 7. Yeah, he good.
Well, like guarding 1 through 5.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible player.
Yeah.
But Toronto's having the ideal year. They stink, but they're like fun and they're interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's like you see the vision, you see the way this is going. Detroit, I think the same thing. They're 8-11 now, but like you see kind of the vision, and you're starting to see Cade Cunningham grow into this role, and Jaden Ivey grow into a different role. Like, okay, yeah, this is fun, this is exciting. And then there's like the Wizards. They're playing a bunch of young dudes, like for sure.
13.
They're playing a bunch of young dudes, but it's like, to what end? I don't. It's not nearly as exciting as Toronto's been. Toronto plays hard as heck.
Hey, look, I think that they did something very specific this offseason. I think they went out and got Jonas Valanciunas, and they held on to Kyle Kuzma.
Mm-hmm.
They think that they're going to be the team that everyone comes to trade with.
Yep.
And they think that they can move Valanciunas and get a first round pick or 2. They think that they can move Kyle Kuzma, get a first round pick, maybe an extra second. Like it feels like a team that loaded up for a yard sale down the road.
Yeah. Jordi Fernandez's Brooklyn Nets beat the Warriors 128-120 last night. The Warriors on Saturday night blew a 17-point lead to the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio. Golden State, second night of a back-to-back. They kind of fell apart down the stretch. It's like, oh, okay. Last night, they're up 18 at home against the Nets. And on the second night of a back-to-back, the Nets were.
Oh, yeah.
And the Warriors smoke an 18-point lead in the second half. And lost 128-120. Oy.
That's not great.
Dude, the Niners, the Raiders, the Kings, the Warriors right now. Thank God for Macklin Celebrini and the Sharks. We love our guy. We love our 18-year-old phenom down there in the South Bay.
I think you can throw in the A's, the Giants.
Oh, I'm just doing the teams that are playing right now. But yeah, A's and Giants also
Yeah, Bay Area
dumpster
sports
fires
has
in their
gone-
respective
yeah.
ways.
Northern California sports has gone sideways.
Tough.
UC
We need a
Davis
dub.
carrying us.
Come on, Davis.
UC
Come on,
Davis
Aggies.
carrying us.
Sac State,
Backpacking.
baseball had a down year. Sac State basketball gave Cal a really good game the other night. Men's
Yeah.
basketball.
Man,
Salute.
UC Davis is number 5 going into the
Going
championship.
into the playoffs.
Going into the playoffs.
The
And
FCS playoffs are fun.
they have a bye first week.
Yeah, dude. I love the FCS playoffs.
There's a pathway.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to go catch a game.
You should.
My Aggies.
It's a really good time. It's a
Yeah.
really, really good time. The Pacers beat the Pelicans 114-110. Is there anything the Pelicans can do this year to be intriguing? Like if they get healthy, they've dug themselves such a hole that I don't know that they'll be able to like climb back out, because I don't think if they're healthy that they're so good that they're just going to go on some insane run where they win like 18 of 20.
I don't think there's anything that. I mean, they have a really, really nice roster. It just doesn't fit together.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Because they're also very quickly dealing with the Brandon Ingram situation. Like, what are you going to do? He's the one guy who stayed healthy. He's the one of the guys that's played the whole time. But man, you know that like Brandon Boston was waived and then like claimed off waivers by them, and he started 9 games. They signed Elfrid Payton off the street the other day. He hadn't played an entire year in the NBA and started him. I mean, he's got 3 starts.
Yikes, man.
Yeah. But didn't he have like 20 assists the other night? Something crazy?
Good for Elfrid Payton.
I know.
We love to see it.
He hadn't played in the league in the 22-23 or the 23-24 season. They signed him and boom, you're starting.
And he's a player all of a sudden.
That's right. 21 assists the other night. 14 and 21.
Man.
7 of 11 from the field.
14 and 21?
Yes. 14 points, 21 assists.
Okay, Elfrid.
Only 5 turnovers.
Okay, Elfrid.
4-to-1 turnover ratio.
He had 5 turnovers and still had a 4-to-1 turnover ratio.
That's right. It's
just
like a
turnover ratio.
4.2 turnover ratio.
Last one from around the NBA last night. The Grizzlies beat the Blazers 123-98. Ja Morant made his return for the Grizzlies. He had 22 and 11. Ja Morant, good player. Can he stay on the court?
Yeah, that's always going to be the question. I mean, it's unfortunate because he is so much fun to watch, but he's already missed, I think it's 8 games. Or
yeah, he's only played 9.
Yeah, that current stretch that he just missed was 8 games. So if he's only played 9, he's missed 9 games already this season because Santi Aldama has played 18 games for them.
Yeah, and still, they find themselves, the Grizzlies do, as the number 5 seed in the West currently. They're a half game up on the Clippers for number 6.
They've got a lot of guys who are averaging like 8 points per game or more. Like a lot.
And Scottie Pippen Jr. just out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's averaging 12 and 5.8 assists. And then Jalen Wells is averaging 12, and he's been really good. Rookie.
G.G. Jackson's not even playing.
Ooh.
And he was awesome for them last year.
Oh, yeah. And Brandon Clark is not, he hasn't really recovered from the Achilles injury.
No.
He's averaging 6.5 and 4.3.
Yeah, dude. They're just a well-coached team, man.
They are a very, very well-coached team. Super deep.
Good for the Grizzlies.
Jay Huff has played in 18 games. He's averaging 9.6 per game in only 15 minutes.
Do you know what my favorite part about Jay Huff is? Is if I told you, hey, if you'd never seen Jay Huff before, and I said, hey, draw a picture of what Jay Huff looks like, you would nail it. He just looks like a guy named Jay Huff. Like, look at him.
I need to look at Jay Huff's picture.
No, you don't. Picture Jay Huff.
I got it.
You're doing it. You're nailing it.
I believe oh, yeah.
This is
Kyle.
Yeah, sure, man. Shooting 45.6% on 4 threes a game. Come on.
I mean, the thing is
7'1" Jay Huff. Let's go.
He's played in 18 games. He's played in every game.
He is a certified bucket, James.
J Huff, I want to see his per 36. His per 36, 23 points, 6.2 rebounds per game.
He's a bucket.
He is a bucket. Man, they're per 36. They have so many people averaging double, like really, really good numbers. Really good numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like
We might have slept on the Grizzlies a little bit.
Well, they're deep. They got the depth.
Talking about the Grizzlies. Damian Barling's here, everybody. The handoff coming up. We'll continue talking about the Kings. After their fourth consecutive loss last night, they fell to the Oklahoma City Thunder 130-109. Just want to remind everybody, speaking of around the NBA, we have the Milwaukee Bucks at the Miami Heat tonight. Coverage begins right here on ESPN 1320, immediately following D'Lo and KC. 4 o'clock. Coverage begins. Milwaukee at Miami. Milwaukee, another team starting to figure it out.
They are?
A little.
Yeah, the Shams just broke some news that Bulls guard Lonzo Ball, out since October 28th with a wrist sprain, is targeting his return to action for Wednesday, a source tells Shams.
Oh, yeah.
Are we still doing that? I mean, the guy's played like 3 games in 5 years. I don't know. I don't know that we're still doing that.
I was all in on the Lonzo story when he hit that first shot in the preseason.
Absolutely.
And they had a party for him in the locker room. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm all in
I
on
want the
Lonzo.
best for that dude.
All right.
And the fact that it was a wrist sprain and not a knee.
Yeah,
thing,
right.
that's
It's like
a totally
it's a
separate.
basketball thing. Like it happens.
Is it knee or an ankle? That's what he's struggled with, ankle foot problems, right?
No, I think the knee is what kept him out for 2 years. Like they couldn't figure
legit.
out what it was.
He played 35 games in 21-22 and then missed the next 2 years.
He had doctors saying, "Yeah, we don't know what this is." Like I didn't think he was ever going to play basketball again.
Yeah.
So a wrist sprain is a welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
So welcome alert.
Yeah, so he's only played 3 games, but the fact that he battled all the way back, he's still only 27. And I think he's I think he's a style of player, Lonzo is, that if he just gets right, if he can get himself right, I don't think there's any reason he couldn't, like Sean Livingston style.
Or I'm with you.
Second half of his career.
I'm with you completely.
Yeah.
He was a great point guard. Like I hate that he lost a couple of years of his career. He was a very unique player.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's unique. He's also, he's not a great shooter, but like he can score.
Yeah, he's a good enough scorer, but he's a great passer. Like he sees the floor. I think only like a handful of people in NBA history have.
Yeah.
Yep. The IQ is just insane. Kings lost last night, but we were no, I swear. It's a thing that happened. But we were talking about this. How they lost last night's loss didn't make things worse for me. Like the 3 losses before that was like, that was But last night just sort of went how I expected it to go. Oklahoma City's really good. They had 4 days off. They hadn't played since Wednesday. They had 4 days off.
Had 3 days off and haven't won since.
the Kings.
We're so tired. We need rest. Okay, bro. Well, you got it.
Scored 29 points in the first half after all that rest.
Man.
But no, so they played him really tough for, what did we say, 32 minutes? And then a really good team pulled away.
1-point game with 5 minutes left.
4 minutes.
A little over 4 minutes.
4 minutes in the third.
And then Oklahoma City, really good team, pulled away, and the Kings kind of lost their legs a little bit. I just wasn't that bothered by last night.
Okay.
You were?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think they stink.
Well,
and I don't think they're doing enough to prove me wrong.
Okay,
like Oklahoma City is good. Oklahoma City is good. Like they're small, they're without Chet, but they're a good basketball team. That's a game like if you're playing like the Wizards and they're lingering around for whatever you guys 30 minutes or whatever, and in the Oklahoma City pulls away. Yeah, that's what you do. We saw that happen with the Blazers earlier this year.
Yeah,
I believe the Kings are better than the Blazers. I don't know how much better, but they're better than the Blazers. Blazers were lingering around. Kings pull away. Good teams though don't let, what was it, an 18-4 run, 18-6 run? Yeah, they don't let that happen.
Sure.
Good coaches don't let that happen. And that's my frustration is like, yes, Oklahoma City is better. There's no question about that. But how good are the Sacramento Kings to be able to, hey, slow down. We got to, this 1 point deficit just became a 6 point deficit, just became a 7 point. Let's slow this down. Let's go get a basket. Let's get to the line. Let's do these different things. None of that happened. And so I came in here yesterday feeling like this was not a good basketball team. And I'm coming out of the way last night's game went, that they're not a good basketball team. If they had lost, to your point, because we're talking about wins and losses, if they had lost and it had been, you know, a 2 point game, turns into a foul game at the end, they wind up losing by 5, losing by 6. Okay, fine. The game ended at the end of the third quarter.
Sure.
They pulled away at the end of the third quarter, and the Kings had no response. You get to quarter break, James, and the team had no response.
It felt like everything shifted right at that 4-minute mark. All of their anger, all of their focus on the court shifted to the refs. And it was like, snap them out of whatever it was they were doing, and they could not get it back.
I think the refs played De'Aaron out of the game.
They got
De'Aaron
so frustrated.
Rightfully frustrated, but it took them out of the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's on them. Like, you've got to stay focused. You can't but at the same time, I don't think they're beating OKC. The way they're playing right now, they're not beating OKC either way.
That's I guess that's what I was trying to say.
But they were playing well enough to beat OKC in my opinion.
But that's like, sure. And then they ran out of gas. Like,
yeah, and again, sometimes. To your original question, that's my problem.
But that's I guess I didn't learn anything new last night. Like, I think all of the
Me neither. They're bad. That's what I didn't learn anything. They're bad.
Yeah, that's
I wanted to be wrong about that.
I think 2 years ago we would have seen the team be more resilient and find a way to win that game. Like, that's who they were 2 years ago.
Or at least compete in it.
Yeah, but
they lost.
They competed last night.
After that point in the third?
No. Yeah. You can't compete for 32 minutes, I guess. Yeah.
Like, what's the percentage of that? They got a C effort last night.
Little less than 3/4.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get where you're at. I do. And I agree with you right now. They're just not good at all. And like, there's nothing else. There's no one else to put in to like fix the problem. Like, you just got Malik Monk back.
God, Malik Monk, the greatest basketball player to ever live. Goodness, what a difference he made for them last night.
Yeah.
Legit question. If I was a good radio show host, I would have thought about this hours ago, but it literally just dawned on me. Like, are they really missing Jordy? Like, the Nets beat the Warriors last night. It's one thing for the Nets to beat the Kings. The Nets beat the Warriors, and I know James hates the Warriors. I think the Warriors are good, like real life good. Nets got to win last night. They're fighting. They're doing
a lot down 18 in that game.
Yeah. Is Mike missing Jordy?
Well, I think it's possible he's missing Jordy. I mean, but that's sort of it works. So.
If you're an assistant coach away from collapse, though, were you good to begin with?
I'm a little frustrated with Mike, so I don't know.
Yeah.
How so?
Oh,
what would you have done? What would you have done differently?
Last night? No, I thought everything was fine last night. I'm frustrated with his constant, like, I'm frustrated with the Colby Jones thing. I'm fine that he made a starting lineup change. Like, Kevin's gone. Like, it's so stupid. Like, Kevin is asked to come off the bench, and all of a sudden he doesn't know how to play basketball.
Yeah.
He took two goddamn shots last night. Really? You were the starting two guard of this team yesterday, 2 days ago. You took 2 shots last night. He is gone. Ladies and gentlemen, we've lost Kevin Huerter. James, go find your boy. Is there a Redhead Facebook? Is there a network that you guys can connect and you can go find Kevin's game? Because I think we've lost him forever. And this is the second time he's been dumped, and I don't think he can take it.
No.
We've also lost the insiders because D'Lo and KC is coming up next. That's Damian Bartling. Kenny Caraway will be in here. Jesse Tapia, of course, on the 1s and 2s. That's James Ham and Kyle Madsen. We're back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Until then, drink water, be nice, people. Boo!